In my view, the current situation in the country is very precarious. Throughout the electioneering period last year, Kenyans were very scared. There was fear in the country. People knew that it would take only a small spark to create chaos in the country. Everybody was alert, okay, and therefore nothing major happened. Now, with all due respect to almost 300 Kenyans who lost their lives during that electioneering period, what I'm trying to say is that it would have been much worse, okay, and it was not. In 2002, when Moi was leaving power, everybody expected the worst. Kenyans were on high alert. People expected trouble. Nothing happened. There was a peaceful transition from President Daniel Arap Moi to President Emilio Stanley Moi Kibaki. And the world was shocked. And the world became even more relaxed about the country called Kenya. Hakuna matata Kenya. These are peaceful folks. Nothing can ever happen in Kenya. That is why in 2007, even when very alarming things were happening in the run-up to the December elections of that year, nobody panicked. Hakuna matata Kenya. Kenyans are very peaceful people. They hate, they abhor violence. Now we know what happened in 2007 and early 2008 as a result of those elections. Fast forward to 2018. A lot has happened in 2017. There was a lot of fear in 2017. Nothing major happened. And so people are relaxed. Even when telltale signs have started rearing their ugly head. Even when alarming things are happening. Now I appreciate the fact that many of you listening to this have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't worry. You will very soon. In fact, immediately after the upcoming short commercial break. Don't go away. Welcome back. Today, we're witnessing the biggest ever move against corruption by any government in Kenya. 54 suspects in total. And we are told by the Deputy Public Prosecutor, Bwana Nordin Haji, that this is only phase 1. We have no idea how many more phases are coming up, but we definitely know there's a phase 2. And this 54 suspects thing is only phase 1. Wow. Now those who know Kenya well are skeptical. Okay, they are saying, let's wait and see if these people are actually going to get convicted. Well, my advice to them is to speak to somebody who knows court procedure and the law very well. And they will tell you that this time round, it seems that the state has a watertight case. Just to simplify things, people received money and they did not supply anything. And the folks arrested so far, shortly to be charged, were involved somewhere along the line. There's also something very different about the people being, these current charges against corruption when you compare them to past charges against corruption. In the past, the charges have been very general. Indeed, even looking at the charge sheet, one would have told you Here, getting a successful prosecution is very difficult. And of course, this was done deliberately. However, this time round, you're finding individuals, at least according to what we're being told by the DPP's office, we find that many individuals are going to be charged with several offenses. And even still, investigators are digging deeper and deeper to find even more charges that can be preferred against these individuals. The long and short of it is that these guys are going down. Yeah. Now, in my recording yesterday, I told you what this corruption campaign is all about, what the objective is, indeed what the big picture is. If somehow you didn't catch those recordings, I suggest you do. And there's a link which should be above your screen right now, which if you click on, you will go to those particular recordings, those videos. And then you'll be able to understand very clearly what's going on here. And therefore, it will be much easier for you to take in what I'm about to tell you. Now, what I said in those recordings is that to fight the kind of corruption that is in Kenya today, surgery is out of question. And that is when you look at it as cancer in the body. Surgery is out of question. Why? Because it will involve cutting off a big chunk of most vital organs in the body. Almost cutting away all vital organs in the body. And when you do that, obviously the patient will die. The patient being the country called Kenya. Don't get me wrong, corruption is bad, cancer is bad, but this is a patient who is living with cancer inside them. Cancer is a part of them. You cannot separate the good them from the cancer. That's really what it is. Because if you do that, that body will stop functioning. The body will die. Yeah, because cancer is a part of it. But what we're doing currently is we're doing what is called selective surgery. Yeah, certain vital organs are going to be affected, while others are going to be left intact. And this is exactly where I see the trouble coming from. Okay? Because the big question is, how will those other vital organs react? Yeah, after you've finished your surgery on these other vital organs. Because the truth is, clearly in this particular surgical procedure, certain organs are going to be left intact. Certain very cancerous organs are going to be left intact. Okay, let me quit talking parables and let me spell it out exactly the way it is. The entire government is corrupt. That is not a secret. Yeah, institutions, checks and balances have collapsed deliberately, or have been collapsed deliberately. And they've been collapsed deliberately so that the corruption happens. Now, if I can give you a very quick example to tell you what I'm saying. In a company, in a corporation, the messenger does not sign the checks. Even senior managers don't sign checks. Indeed, we even have many of the directors who do not sign checks. Checks are signed by the highest authorities in the company. Yeah, the chief executive officer and the finance manager, or rather the finance director. Yeah, therefore, if you want to get a check out of that company, using corrupt means, there are only two ways of doing it. Number one, you can either forge the signatures of the individuals involved, or the individuals involved must be complicit for the fraud to work. Why must they be complicit? Now, those who work in finance departments of companies will know what I'm talking about. Before a check is written, the invoice is presented for approval for payment. A list is made of the payments which have been approved so that the check can be written. And then after that step, once the check is written, the check comes back again. And when you bring the check, you must present evidence that actually the payment was approved. Now, this is a busy person. He can't remember which particular payment he approved and which he did not. Yeah. And so you have to remind them, by attaching the necessary approvals. And so when the first signatory signs that check, the second signatory again has to go through the same procedure and ensure that actually the payment was approved and that the signature on the check is actually the signature of the chief executive officer. Yeah. Why? Because it's his responsibility. The finance director has a responsibility to ensure that no fraud happens in that company. So they have to be very, very careful and very alert at all times. Now, when it comes to government, multiply those procedures several times. Yeah, because I just want you to understand very clearly that corruption cannot happen without very, very big fish being complicit. So multiply that procedure in a private company I've just given you, multiply it by 10 or 20 times. When you do that, you'll understand what Dr. David D was saying over the weekend, at the KTN talk show. What he meant when he said that the entire financial management system has collapsed. The financial management system of the government of the Republic of Kenya has collapsed to allow what is happening to happen. The long and short of what I'm saying is that the current campaign against corruption has chosen a few, and those are the ones facing the law. Many, many others, especially very big fish, have been left out. So the question is, how will these people react? These people have been prosecuted. How will the people backing these people who are being prosecuted react? If it was you, how would you react? Yeah, corruption is a bad thing, but we're all stealing. But what has happened is that some of us are in court, some of us are going to be jailed, but we can clearly see others walking very relaxed, free as a bird in the streets. What is a normal human reaction to that? Folks, that is precisely where the trouble is going to come from. And you can be sure that these individuals and those backing them will do everything in their power, to try and save themselves. To put it in one simple sentence, they will say the following: yes, I'm guilty. Yes, I'm going down, but I will not go down alone. And folks, that is where the huge danger is. That is where the huge danger lies. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't like corruption. I don't support corruption. I don't support the individuals who have been arrested. However, I cannot forget the noble ideas, the noble initiative that Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki had when he came into office in 2002. Very late 2002 and into 2003. Zero tolerance to corruption. And the government was very determined to recover money which had been looted from the Kenyan people, stashed away in foreign accounts all over the world. But we know what happened. It's not that Kibaki is a bad man. It's not that Kibaki changed his mind. What actually happened is that corruption fought back. What that clearly told us is that corruption is more powerful, much more powerful than the President of the Republic of Kenya. And remember that Mwai Kibaki was a much more powerful president than President Uhuru Kenyatta, because Mwai Kibaki was operating under the old constitution. Uhuru Kenyatta is operating under the new constitution. So mark my words, corruption will fight back. But my deepest concern, why I'm worried, is due to the fact that it's rather obvious corruption will fight back politically. And corruption will tell us that some people from a certain part of the country are being finished. While some people from another part of the country who are equally corrupt, and in fact even more corrupt, according to corruption, not according to me, are being left untouched. That is a recipe for disaster. And to make matters worse, one of the most corrupt people in our country, is able to drum up emotions in a part of our country where the people are very violent, where the people can cause a lot of damage, where the people can be extremely unreasonable if they choose to be. And that is why the only way this thing would have worked, this very good thing for Kenya, indeed this vital thing for Kenya, The only way it would have worked is by prosecuting everybody or nobody. There is great danger in only prosecuting some people. Yeah, I think I can't say anything more than that for now. Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.